friends, today we are going to be building another small business residential, but this time it's going to be a cute, cozy, cottagey build that is a knitting shop plus a cafe. So let's hop into today's speed build. We are building here in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, and you are going to notice that the exterior of this build starts to come together extremely quickly, and that is because this is the third time that I have built this build. If we're getting really technical, I guess it's technically the second and a half time I built this. So the first time I tried to build it on stream, I built for an hour and then the stream crashed and I had not saved not one time. So I lost everything. So I just kind of quit the game. I didn't get to save anything. The second time I completely finished the build. And then for whatever reason, I decided to clean out my save files and didn't realize that it was in a save file that it was in. And I deleted that save file without uploading it anywhere. And now you are witnessing the third build. So it's coming together really quickly because I had this speed build from the second time that I built it. So I knew what I wanted the exterior to look like. So it seems like I just really know what's going on. And that's because technically at this point I kind of do. So I really hope you like this one because I thought it was really cute, which is why I decided to build it the third time instead of just scratching it and building something else. Plus, this was a follower requested build and I had told her that I had already built it and then I lost it. But like I said, I really love this build, so I wanted to be able to put it out there and do the speed build on it and then also share it on the gallery with you in case you wanted it. This ends up being a knitting store where you can sell your knitted items. Plus I added in the knitting books and some extra yarn and things. And then also a cafe zone, which we end up with a really cute outdoor seating area. And then the house with the red roof is the actual residential house. And the first time I built it all the way through, I did fully furnish the house, but this time I was kind of like over it. So it has all of the permanent fixtures and a layout, but it doesn't have all the furniture in it. I'll show you at the end. I'll do a tour of the build and I'll show you where I would put the stuff. But I felt like that was the one place I could just cut out and not finish it completely. Plus, some of you have actually mentioned that you really like these shell builds because you like to decorate but not build. So I hope that's okay and I hope that you like it. I hope the third time of building it was worth it. If you ever have any builds you'd like to see from me, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and suggestions. And sometimes I come up lacking in inspiration, and this one was not one that I would have built for myself. But once the idea was given to me, I absolutely loved it. So I did take it and run with it. I've mentioned it a couple of times on here, but I've talked about it a little bit more in depth over on stream. But I've kind of been dealing with an illness that has not been diagnosed yet. And it has kind of left me lacking inspiration just a little bit. You may have noticed even in my regular posts, some of them are shorter or a little more spotty. And I am hopefully getting that figured out soon. By the time you're watching this, I will be in another procedure. I don't even know how to pronounce the procedure, but it's basically like a partial colonoscopy, and I'm just gonna leave that there. But hopefully we will have something figured out tomorrow and we'll be back a little bit more normal. So I am sorry if you've noticed I've been a little spottier with the posting and whatnot. I am trying to get back to normal so hard. It's just been kind of rough. I've been dealing with a lot of fatigue and whatnot, and then that leaves me lacking inspiration. So like I said, any suggestions you have are always welcome. And I like to build stuff for you guys every now and then. I obviously can't do it all the time, every time, but if you have a build that even you're specifically wanting to have that you haven't found on the gallery, I'd love to maybe try to build that for you. But back to the build for a second. You can see the exterior is coming together really well. We are getting this stone path placed, so it's going to take you to all of the main entrances. The one right in front being where our shop is going to be. We've got one that goes off to the house, and then we've got another one that goes off to that pergola with the string lights, where we're going to have some outdoor seating for the cafe. It is closed off everywhere except for a door that leads into the business and this little front area that we're gonna fence it out, but we're gonna leave that part open. And since this is a very cutesy cottagey build, we're going all out with landscaping. We're gonna have so much landscaping, so many flowers. It ends up being a very peachy and yellow floral landscaping, and I think it is perfect for this world. I do use Twisted Mexie's Better BuildBuy and T.O.O.L Mod. You do not need those mods to download this build, but you will see them come out a little bit because I use a lot of Cottage Living Debug. I think almost all of the plants that I use are Cottage Living Debug. So if you're wondering how to get those and you don't have the ability to get mods, you would have to open your cheats panel, type in bb.show hidden objects and then bb.show live edit objects. and then in the search bar type ***debug. You can also Google Sims 4 cheats, how to open Sims 4 debug if you want to copy and paste all of this, but you'd have to scroll really far to find everything that I'm using, whereas with the mod it puts it in its proper category. So now for me it's under the plants. I just wanted to let anyone know who's maybe never used it before, like, and they're wondering where I got all these pretty little cottagey plants from. I know debug is no secret, so probably the vast majority of you know how to use that, but not everyone does. And I learned a lot from watching Sims videos, so I'd like to spread that knowledge wherever I can. This is probably one of the more heavier landscaped builds I've done in a long time, and turns out I kind of love it. I have like a love-hate relationship with landscaping. Sometimes it can feel really tedious and annoying and repetitive, but something about the cottage world and the cottage landscaping was just really giving me life here. And then also over there where I just put that really skinny tree, there is lights in the cottage living debug, and they clip to this tree and it looks like a little tree with string lights. I thought it was so adorable. I also really love the colors on this build and the tricolor roof. I know the tricolor roof might not be for everyone, so obviously if you hate it, just change them to be more uniform. I do not mind you modifying this build however you see fit, obviously. I hate to say it, but I think the landscaping in the exterior of this took longer than literally anything else. So I did leave in most of it, but I am about to cut out a chunk of it where I went in and like put some dirt paths and whatnot. And now we are heading inside finally where we are gonna do our layout for our house and then also our build. So over on the left side of this build is where we're gonna have the cafe and the knitting shop. We also include a bathroom here in the back and a little employee area over on this side. From the second build that I did to this one now, this area is what changed the most. The first time I built it all the way through, I didn't really like how much upstairs space I was left with. So this time I ended up deciding to open up a bit at the top. And I think the floor plan turned out so much better this time. And speaking of floor plans, I'm doing the floor plan for the house area now. So I do use the cottage living counters. And I think right about now is where I'm like, no, I'm not furnishing this whole thing. Let's just do permanent fixtures. But for whatever reason, I'm still like, we need cute blue and pink countertops, which I thought was actually really adorable. I will say I end up using the Home Chef Hustle tile in here. I don't know why I cannot help myself. I just can't. I use it all the time. I will say this build is not limited pack by any means, but I don't really think you need a lot of the packs that I use to be able to download it. I think as long as you have Cottage Living, the small business pack, and Nifty Knitting, and maybe Seasons for the house windows, although you could change those out for base game ones, you would be able to download this build pretty easily and just make some small modifications. I'll show you when I tour it, like the amount of items used in some of the other packs. I don't know why I did that. I think like Home Chef Hustle, all I used was the tile. I use a singular rug from Snowy Escape for some reason. So once again, it's not limited pack, but you really just probably need those 4 to be able to successfully download this without having to replace the whole build. You would obviously need to swap out some rugs and whatnot, but like that's not that difficult to do. In hindsight, I wish I would have done it a little bit more limited pack, like maybe picked 5 packs to use, but I wasn't building it a 4th time, so this is what we're left with. But now we are officially moving over to our business area, and we're using a lot of Cottage Living and Nifty Knitting in here. I don't think, other than the string lights outside and the rugs from Snowy Escape, that we used any other items in this build other than Cottage Living, Nifty Knitting, and the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. So for sure you'd be good on the business front. But what we're doing right when you walk in, we're gonna have an area for you to sell your crafts, and I do stock this with debug, so obviously if you want to change it out to be your items, just delete the debug ones. They're free, so you won't lose or gain money with them. I also use a lot of the Nifty Knitting debug to hang like plants in the window and to put decorations around and about the build. I am curious though from you guys, do you prefer to see limited pack builds or do you prefer to see full pack builds, or does it matter to you? I would be very curious to know what you like to watch, or if you actually like go and download the limited pack builds or not. Like, what do you prefer in general, like whether watching or downloading? I do know that I am very fortunate and most people don't have all of the Sims 4 packs, so I know when I use all the packs, it makes builds borderline not downloadable anymore for most people, but I think a lot of you might also just be here for the vibe. So if you like to watch builds with all the packs, then maybe that's what you're more interested in. And now that I'm thinking about it, I did use some extra decorations for some other packs. Nothing that makes this business functional or not functional, but a few little extra decorations from Tiny Living specifically in here, I believe. But now we are moving on to our actual cafe area, which is going to be right over here. So it'll be here when you walk in. You're going to see me throw down a lot of clutter in just a second. Don't worry, it's not going to stay like that. I just wanted to know that it was there. So I'm using a lot of clutter and whatnot from Cottage Living. We're going to add in a few extra mugs and things like that. But I did like this little wraparound look. I thought it was very cute and probably a little bit more realistic. So they can order their coffee from there. We're going to have a little seating wait area here where I also use this chalkboard, like maybe it's a special board or maybe they have a small menu. And then the seating is either going to be outside under the pergola, or we have a few extra tables upstairs where our knitting classes also happen. It ended up being a teeny bit squishier downstairs than I had originally planned on, but I think it's cute and cozy and quaint, and I think it adds to the cottagey vibe of this lot. And now here goes down some more of that clutter. I promise I make it look cute before we finish the build, but I think I wait for it until last. I was kind of waiting to run across stuff and dropping it down as I found it. I don't know if any of you do that, but sometimes I find it a lot to like have to keep reopening the clutter panel over and over again. So if I just drop things as I see them, then it's easier to me somehow. But up here in this little corner is where we're going to be having our knitting class area, and I thought we had to have rocking chairs, so we end up with this little rocking chair circle. Circle is a strong word for what that is, but it's circular-esque. And then over here we have down some extra things to make the knitting classes work. You have to have 4 of the knitting baskets, and these do fall within the realm. I don't know if they'll go sit in the rocking chairs though. I'm gonna be honest, I did not play test it. But I did add in this extra table in case they don't go sit in the rocking chairs, they should go sit there instead. But I did add a few little clutter items, and then this is also the extra seating zone for the cafe downstairs. But now at this point we are just adding a lot of little decorations and whatnot and sprucing it up and trying to make it feel cute and cottagey and homey. I will say, watching it back now, I love the mixture of the wood tones, but I wish maybe I would not have used these chairs from the small businesses and hobbies pack. I keep calling it the small businesses pack. It's the businesses and hobbies pack, but I think maybe I might change those before I upload it to the gallery. So you won't watch them change in the video, but I think I might swap them out for a different chair that looks maybe just like slightly more cottage looking, because I gotta tell you, they're breaking the immersion for me right now, so I'm sorry about that if they broke the immersion for you too. And then we're also adding in some rugs. I tried with this laundry day rug and it didn't really work for me, so I came back in with these ones and I sized one of them up a little bit so they kind of overlay on each other, and I think that that gives such a cute cottagey vibe. But now we are getting to the finishing line of the build. I did cut out the bathroom, so you'll notice next to where we're at, that's finished all of a sudden. I will tour it for you, but it's a bathroom and bathrooms are kind of boring to watch, and I didn't do anything all that innovating in there. But in here is our employee area, and we're sticking with the same wallpaper that we've been using in the main part of the building, but I just think this little space turns out so cute. That's where I used the Tiny Living painting, and then I pulled down the same chairs and tables, so I'll probably leave the table, but I will probably grab a different set of chairs there as well. But then also just adding a little bit more clutter. But we're pretty much getting to the end of this build at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop in and give you a tour of how everything turned out. We are here in the world of Hinford on Bagley that comes with Cottage Living, and we built our build right here in the main city area of the world on this 30 by 20 lot. And here we are at our build. I think it turned out so cute. I think it fits into the world rather nicely, and I once again love the landscaping here. So right when you walk up, we've got some debug bikes, this little debug mailbox from Nifty Knitting, and then the path takes you straight to the front door or splits off to the house and backyard or to our little dining area over here. These string lights are from Toddler Stuff because they're the most easy to access, but these exact same string lights are also in the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. They're just in debug, so they can be replaced if you don't have Toddler Stuff. Over on this side, we have a little gardening zone for this family. I just put this out here as kind of filler space, but I used some extra flowers and plants in the front of our knitting area. So in my head, maybe one of the Sims is into gardening or flower arranging or something like that. But let's start with our house because that's probably the least interesting of the build. So over here at our house, it's just a very open concept floor plan. The kitchen is rather large. I did leave these stools. I guess I could delete those. But in my head, dining goes right here in this zone. And then this right here is a living room. And then upstairs, we've got a 2-bed, 1-bath situation. But now on to the fun part. This is our knitting and cafe store. So right when you walk in, you can buy some extra yarn, you can buy some knitting books, and then you can also buy some crafted goods. Moving a little further into the build is where our little cafe zone is. And here is all that clutter properly situated now. If we keep going straight, that is where our bathroom is going to be. And that's the only use of anything a snowy escape is this rug. I do think this bathroom turned out really cute and cottagey. It's kind of bright for cottage vibes, but I do like the style in here for a cottagecore type of build. I think maybe I might want to make all of the lights slightly yellow, and I think that will fix this. Yeah, that's perfect. If we make everything just a teeny tiny bit yellow, now it's not as stark. Okay, so I'm happier with that now. And then off that bathroom is our employee area where I did swap out the chairs for these obvious choices from Cottage Living. I don't know why I ever picked the Businesses and Hobbies chairs, but now those are swapped in all places. And they have a little kitchenette zone so you can have your employees eat and everything while they're here. I don't know if I mentioned it, but under the pergola, we have these tables and chairs from Get Together. And I just think that makes really great outdoor furniture. And then coming upstairs, you can kind of see all of the shop from the upstairs, which I thought looked really, really nice. We've got some knitting clutter on the wall as well as like a cute little gallery. I did change out these chairs up here as well. I think it looks a million times better. And then this rug started out as yellow, but when we added the yellow chairs, the cream made more sense. So that's swapped now as well. I did use a couple of things from kits. I used these mugs from Everyday Clutter, and then I used this one singular book from the Cozy Gamer kit. So once again, packs that you don't really need that I just included for some reason. And then over here is our knitting class. Hopefully they'll come sit in the rocking chairs. If you download and play in this build, comment and let me know if they actually do. But that is our knitting store and cafe all together. So let me get that on the gallery for you. That is uploaded for you now. I named it the Knitting Nook, and I do use hashtag PlumeriaPlay to give you an easier time finding it. And then pack-wise, you would definitely need Businesses and Hobbies, Cottage Living, and Nifty Knitting for sure. And for rent, I used one awning from Snowy Escape. I used one rug, and this is kind of a theme. I use a lot of singular items in a pack, so it says that it uses that pack, and it does, but you don't really need that pack. You don't need any of the kits. Oh, I used stone from this kit. I think that's this stone here on this wall. But I think you can change that too. So I'm sorry, I hope that's not annoying, but let me know how you think this build turned out in the comments. And if you prefer limited pack or full pack builds, I would love to know. If you made it this far in the video, comment a yarn emoji in the comments below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.